Linda S. says, real, powerful, and deeply relatable. This book truly resonated with me on so many levels. It captures and validates many of the health challenges I have personally faced, while also shining a light on the silent struggles that so many women endure but rarely voice. The honesty in these pages is refreshing. It's raw without being overwhelming and powerful without losing its compassion. What stood out most was how the author not only shares her journey, but also offers insights and encouragement that feel practical and doable. Reading it, I felt less alone and more empowered to face my own challenges with clarity and strength. This is the kind of book that starts conversations women need to have with each other. It gives language to experiences we often keep hidden, and it left me feeling seen, supported, and inspired. I highly recommend it to anyone navigating health challenges or seeking a reminder that resilience and healing are possible. This is True Voice Unfiltered, the podcast where raw truth meets real transformation. I'm your host, Daria Anne, ghostwriter, content strategist, and holistic health warrior. No, I'm not a doctor, nurse, nutritionist, or any kind of medical professional, and this show does not dispense medical advice. I'm just an informed patient sharing what I've learned on my own healing journey. I also interview accomplished authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, and functional medicine practitioners who are transforming lives. If you're ready to break free from the sick care system, reclaim your health, and transform your life, you're in the right place. Let's get unfiltered. Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of True Voice Unfiltered. This is your host, Daria Anne, and I thank you for joining me today. In this episode, I want to go over some of the 5-star reviews now on Amazon for my best-selling book, My Escape from the Sick Care System, A Guide to Overcoming PCOS, Hashimoto's, and Autoimmune Conditions with Functional Medicine. Currently, as of today, I have 13 5-star reviews, and I'm very grateful. I wanted to share some of those today and also let you know that I am going to be on a few more podcasts coming up. I'm very excited to be speaking soon with Jody Lane of Accelerated Medical Practices. Jody works with functional medicine and hormone clinics to help them achieve success, treat their patients, and basically thrive in this environment. And as you guys know, if you've read my book or know anything about me, I very much believe in directly paying for medicine and not going through insurance, which just keeps getting more and more expensive. We keep paying higher and higher premiums when you can actually pay for labs directly like I do. And maybe we don't have catastrophic plans anymore, but what I'm doing right now is saving my money for a rainy day, kind of like a rainy day fund. But I definitely believe in paying directly for the right kind of care. My book really chronicles my journey, for anyone who doesn't know, toward functional medicine. It's a 5-decade long story that I condensed into a 144-page book if you get the paperback. In Kindle, it depends because you can make the fonts larger or smaller depending on your preferences, but it's a quick read. And I really put it together because I wanted to speak patient to patient about functional medicine and my experiences. And yeah, I did have a bad experience with a functional medicine practitioner, but that didn't mean I stopped looking for the right one. So I wanted to speak to people out there who are getting nowhere with their insurance plan, with their conventional doctor, because the system is really not designed for you to thrive. And a 7-minute dictated office visit, dictated by insurance, does not give a doctor any time to really delve into issues that may be playing into whatever chronic conditions you have, like stress. A lot of times their training is so limited in the sense that, an endocrinologist might not run anything beyond TSH or maybe T4. They're not going to run tests like reverse T3, thyroid antibodies. I mean, maybe you'll get the thyroid antibodies. But they don't look at a full panel in general because they don't know what to do with it once they're done. And their training has taught them that T4 only is the way to go for hypothyroidism, whether it's caused by Hashimoto's, which 95% of hypothyroidism is due to Hashimoto's, or just hypothyroidism. But the problem is that most people do not convert T4 into T3, which is the active form of the thyroid that all of our cells have receptors for, and that's what gets into the cell and helps regulate your heartbeat, your body temperature, your hair growth, your digestion. So many things, so many vital functions are controlled by the thyroid, but that conversion of T4 to T3 is critical. So I myself right now, I'm on a combination of T4 and T3, but I'm on, mostly T3. So I'm on NP thyroid, which I believe is about 80% T4, 20% T3, but then I'm also on T3 only in the form of liothyronine. I've been doing so well with all of these other aspects, such as bringing down inflammation, working out at the gym, eating a whole food diet, all of those other things that are so important, taking the right supplements, that in January 2025, we cut my thyroid dosage in half. So I'm actually taking half of what I was taking in April of 2022. So it's been great, but I mean, it depends on the patient. Again, I think that my thyroid was in a condition where that was possible when I got everything else, the inflammation down, and made all those other changes, that things just started working better. But hey, I would be happy, even if I had to continue on my original dosage, I would have been happy to do that because I felt great that way too. The point is that you actually get root cause healing. Identify the full problem, run all the proper blood tests, and then address the root cause. And it's different for every patient. This is very personalized medicine. It's not cookie cutter, like what everyone is used to when you go for your 7-minute office visit. And by the way, I've said this before, your copay is not $20 or $30 or whatever it is. What are you paying in premiums every month? And how often do you actually use your insurance? Because what you're really paying is astronomical. So I could go on and on about that, and there was a fabulous interview, I'll link it in the show description, yesterday with Dr. Mary Talley-Bowden and Dutch Rojas, two people I greatly admire and respect for the work that they are doing. I actually ghostwrote or collaborated with Dr. Alejandro Badia on his book, Healthcare from the Trenches, which speaks to the problems in conventional medicine, modern medicine, from the perspective of insurance dictating everything, just inefficient care, and his ideas for making healthcare better. Now, he's been fighting the good fight for many, many years, dealing with politicians, and I have to say it's kind of disheartening because a lot of these politicians just don't care. In fact, I would say very few of them actually really care. They are not there to represent us. They are there to make as much money as they can, and unfortunately, that means Americans deal with the fallout. And in this case, in the form of 7-minute office visits, getting stuck on pharmaceuticals that don't address the root cause, and not feeling well and just getting progressively worse. So think back to 1999 when I first read Dr. Atkins, and I talked about that in episode 12. I also talk about it in my book. But I read that book and all of his case studies about how he was reversing type 2 diabetes simply with diet by removing the carbohydrates or significantly lowering carbohydrates with whole food, and people were getting off of insulin or reducing their insulin significantly. He even had heart patients whose hearts were improving with this type of a diet, and it contradicted everything that I'd been taught as far as low fat and what you should eat and what constitutes a good diet for the heart and all of those things. And I wondered when I got to the end of his book, and then actually when I had success with it and made it to the maintenance portion on my own, which admittedly was a little tricky back then because there weren't a lot of podcasts. I don't think podcasts existed at the time. The internet was not as sophisticated at the time, and I certainly wasn't as sophisticated as I've become in the years following with using the internet. So maybe there were chat rooms somewhere with support for people doing low carb, but back then I didn't know about them, or I couldn't find them. So I was doing the maintenance part myself, kind of following his book, and it was a little bit tricky to do on your own, but I did it. And it lasted for many years. I kept the weight off. I felt great until somewhere along the line I developed Hashimoto's. And I don't care what kind of nutrition plan you're on or how you're eating. If you have Hashimoto's, you're not going to lose weight. And with me, what happened was I gained weight to a certain point, and then I could not get it off. And once I got optimized back in 2022, the weight came off, and I've kept it off. I was wondering, though, back in 1999 when I read his book, like, where's the AMA? Why aren't they beating down his door trying to figure out what he's doing? Because he's having so much success with all these patients, not realizing that the old mantra, follow the money, find the truth, is really valid. And instead of welcoming him as a hero and promoting him, they vilified this man, even to the point where people lied about his cause of death, which was not from eating fat and protein, but from slipping on ice on the sidewalk and hitting his head. So, Dr. Atkins, may you rest in peace. Thank you for being such a huge part of my life. So moving on to my book, My Escape from the Sick Care System, A Guide to Overcoming PCOS, Hashimoto's and Autoimmune Conditions with Functional Medicine. As of this recording, I now have 13 5-star reviews that I wanted to share in this episode. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so my book is available in Kindle and paperback. I'm keeping the Kindle version at 99 cents because I want as many people as possible to be able to read it. I do recommend a paperback. Myself, I'm very old-fashioned. I love paperbacks. I love to make notes. And my book definitely has calls to actions and places where you can journal, like what you're eating every day, how you're exercising, things like that. So, but you can get the Kindle book and actually keep a separate journal and do the same thing. But the paperback is available for $14.97, Kindle in 99 cents. So I have 13 ratings as of this point in time. Here's my page on Amazon, and I want to read a few of them. Now, this one is from Frank Healy, who I interviewed several episodes ago about his book, Somatic Therapy for Beginners. And Frank says, My Escape from the Sick Care System is an empowering and eye-opening book that everyone struggling with thyroid hormone, PCOS, or autoimmune issues needs to read. Daria Anne shares her deeply personal journey of breaking free from the cycle of pills, dismissive doctors, and endless frustration, and instead finding hope and healing through functional medicine and root cause approaches. What I love most about this book is how relatable and encouraging Daria is. She doesn't demonize doctors, but shines a light on the flaws of the system while providing practical, easy-to-follow strategies that make you feel capable of taking charge of your own health. Her empathy, clarity, and research-backed guidance gave me confidence that true healing is possible. This book is not just informative, it's inspiring. If you're tired of feeling unheard and stuck, My Escape from the Sick Care System will give you the courage, tools, and hope to reclaim your health and your life. I am recommending it to my sister who struggles with Hashimoto's. Highly recommended for anyone who wants to be in the driver's seat of their wellness journey. Thank you, Frank. And that review encapsulates all the reasons why I wrote the book. I certainly hope that he does recommend the book to his sister and that she reaches out to me if she has any questions. I want to mention that the book has a free gift for my readers at the beginning. So when you purchase it in Kindle or paperback, you'll see a link. You can download. It's only for people that purchase the book, but it's a free guide to how to find the right functional medicine practitioner for you. So red flags to look for, questions to ask, green lights to look for, things like that. And as I mentioned, I've seen good and bad, and I had a very bad experience, which I also document in my book, but I wanted to be very honest about my whole journey. And again, I didn't allow one bad experience to throw me off track or to derail my efforts to find thyroid and hormone optimization. And here I am now. But I want people to learn from my experience so you don't have to go through the same thing. All right, so let's see here what Liz has to say. Empowering and practical. Daria's book spoke to me in a way few health books do. It isn't just about Hashimoto's, it's about breaking free from a system that keeps so many people stuck without answers. Instead of vague advice, she offers a clear and compassionate framework for uncovering root causes, making lifestyle changes, and reclaiming your health. Her voice is relatable and encouraging, and she blends personal experience with actionable steps you can start right away. I came away with a sense of hope and real strategies I can use, not just theory. If you feel overlooked by traditional medicine or are tired of being told to just live with it, this book gives you the tools and mindset to move forward. Highly recommended. Thank you so much, Liz. Very much appreciated. And yes, she brings up an important point in this review. How many of you have been told, just live with it, you're aging, it's all part of aging, this is just what we do, right? I've talked about that before. At age 19, when I questioned the use of synthetic hormones, and the gynecologist's response to that was, well, it's just what we do. We create false scenarios in your body to trick your body into thinking it's having a period. And she had no answers for me when I questioned the validity of that approach because it didn't get to the root cause. I did not get a root cause diagnosis and solution. I got a Band-Aid in the form of synthetic hormones. So thank you, Liz, again for that review. I'm grateful that my book hit the mark in that regard. I really wrote it for people who do feel overlooked by traditional medicine or dismissed or gaslit by a system that won't, run all the right tests, that won't give a doctor more than 7 minutes with you, and really just manages symptoms and just watches them progress. It's crazy to me. I mean, and I've said this before on other podcasts, but I'll say it again, just discovering through Dr. Atkins that type 2 diabetes is reversible was such a revelation for me. It was shocking because so many people on my mother's side of the family had diabetes. Now, they didn't call it type 2, they just called it diabetes. And I grew up thinking that it ran in the family because that's what people told me. And I vowed in my mind it was never going to happen to me, and I don't have it to this day. But I didn't know that, you could actually do things that my relatives who did have it could change their eating habits. And if not reverse it completely, at least, reduce the amount of insulin they had to take and feel better. And believe me, I tried with several relatives. So, maybe at that point they were just not open to learning new things, or, they do it for a little while, but in their case, like, no one wanted to give up the pasta or the bread. And so it is what it is. But I think that making the information available to people and then letting them decide what they want to do with it is critical. All right, here's another review from Lily E. Self-reflection healing. As someone who has recently discovered functional medicine, I found this book to be quite helpful. Daria's explanation of her experiences, coupled with easy-to-understand explanations of medical test terminology, helps the reader understand that taking a pill may not be the best option. I would recommend this book to anyone pursuing a healthy, nutritious, balanced lifestyle. Thank you so much, Lily. And yes, and this review also speaks to the importance of taking control of your own health. So when you see a functional medicine practitioner, they should be a partner. They are your partner in achieving optimal health, but you also have to do your part in making the lifestyle changes, getting the right lab work, taking the supplements they recommend based on that lab work, following whatever regimen they put you on, because it's going to be different for you. It's unique to every individual. And in this very personalized way of practicing medicine, the patient needs to be involved. So I would say that Lily is correct in saying that this book is really for anyone pursuing a healthy, nutritious, balanced lifestyle. So, okay. Veronica G says, Breaking Free and Finding Hope. This book is both empowering and refreshing. Daria's story is inspiring, but what makes it stand out is how practical and encouraging it feels. Instead of more just learn to live with it advice, she gives real steps and hope for anyone tired of the endless cycle of prescriptions without answers. A must-read for women ready to take back control of their health. Amen. Yes, and for some reason, it seems to be mostly women who get Hashimoto's. Men do get it. Dr. Amy, who is my practitioner, does work with men in her practice, so I'm not saying that no men get it, but the majority of patients in her practice are female. The majority of patients who get Hashimoto's are female. And no one really knows for sure. A lot of reasons. Could be perimenopause, pregnancy, puberty. Those are the 3 Ps, and I didn't say them in the right order. So it really is puberty, pregnancy, perimenopause, but could also be environmental, lifestyle, who knows, a whole myriad of reasons. I'm more interested, I'm the kind of person that's really more interested in, okay, I have this, what do we do about it? How do I reverse it? How do I get it under control? And I don't say that I'm in remission. I don't think that's the right word. I just like to say that my symptoms are like gone. So maybe my symptoms are in remission, but I have to maintain this lifestyle to continue to feel well. Right, I have to continue to take my thyroid replacement, even though it's been cut in half. I still take it every day. I still take it on an empty stomach and wait an hour before I have coffee or any other supplements or food. So I'm still doing all of the things. Maybe they've just been tweaked a little bit, but this is a lifetime commitment is what I'm trying to say. But once you start feeling great, you want to feel that way all the time. And once you get into this routine, which it really becomes a system, you just fall back on it, and it's very easy because it's kind of like just brushing your teeth when you wake up. Okay, I love this one from Trish Dahl. It's titled Engaging, Powerful Read. From the very first page, my escape from the sick care system draws you into a world of frustration, hope, and profound discovery. Daria Anne is an extraordinarily gifted writer, guiding you with courage, grace, and unflinching honesty through the often confusing maze of modern medicine. Her story is bravely told, inspired by the wisdom of her father, carrying the reader along as though you're walking this transformative path side by side. Her words will especially resonate with anyone who has felt medically overlooked, misunderstood, or dismissed when questions are brushed aside and answers feel just out of reach. Through her prose, you live every moment of doubt, every frustration, and ultimately every triumph. She makes the complex deeply human, weaving science. She makes the complex deeply human, weaving science, intuition, and lived experience into a narrative that is as empowering as it is enlightening. By the final page, you're not just informed, you're transformed, inspired to trust yourself and take control of your optimal health in ways you may never have imagined. Daria goes the extra step. At the end of the book, she provides a truly invaluable informational index, including recommended podcasts, a symptom guide, lab testing resources, even online labs, as well as a food and supplement diary to help you take action immediately. It's a perfect balance of storytelling and practical guidance, making this book as useful as it is inspiring. I'm truly grateful this book found its way to me. It's an empowering gift I'll be paying forward. Oh, thank you so much, Trish. That gave me chills, that review, and I'm so deeply grateful that you took the time to write that. And yes, and I'm grateful that Trish also feels the same way, that, yes, it's a memoir because I wanted to sort of lay the groundwork for my credibility as a patient in writing the book, but I also want it to be practical and filled with steps that you can take even before you find a functional medicine practitioner. Hence, I included a list of my favorite podcasts, a guide to labs, like I said, the free guide at the beginning of the book that you can download right away about how to find the right functional medicine practitioner for you, and so many other resources in there. At the end of every chapter, there's a call to action. It asks you questions so that you can keep a journal and write down the answers and really start tuning into your body and what your symptoms are trying to tell you, and ways that you can resolve those symptoms, like how to find the right practitioner. Okay, so let's see. Linda S. says, real, powerful, and deeply relatable. This book truly resonated with me on so many levels. It captures and validates many of the health challenges I have personally faced, while also shining a light on the silent struggles that so many women endure but rarely voice. The honesty in these pages is refreshing. It's raw without being overwhelming, and powerful without losing its compassion. What stood out most was how the author not only shares her journey, but also offers insights and encouragement that feel practical and doable. Reading it, I felt less alone and more empowered to face my own challenges with clarity and strength. This is the kind of book that starts conversations women need to have with each other. It gives language to experiences we often keep hidden, and it left me feeling seen, supported, and inspired. I highly recommend it to anyone navigating health challenges or seeking a reminder that resilience and healing are possible. Wow. Thank you, Linda. I am so grateful that you feel that way about the book. And really, I would love to open more conversations for women. And maybe that gives me an idea to start perhaps a Facebook group or some type of online support. Now, again, let me just clarify. I am not a functional medicine practitioner. I'm not any kind of medical health practitioner, not a nutritionist, not a nurse practitioner, none of those things. But I think, again, a patient's perspective is crucial, because I know, like, I was there too, right? You see all these wonderful people online doing podcasts, and there's so many wonderful practitioners in this particular part of medicine sharing valuable information and really trying to help people. But the perception, I think, among many patients is, well, how do I know I can trust them? And they're just out to make money. Because again, we've been stuck with this insurance system, forgetting that, paying premiums every month means you're not really paying a $20 or $30 copay when you get to the doctor. And when you get to the doctor, you get 7 minutes. So there's no value in it, right? Only the insurance companies are making money. But I do understand the skepticism and not knowing who to trust online. So perhaps I could start a support group just to talk about these things and sort of guide people in the right direction. And I know, and again, as Linda's review demonstrates, it's mostly women, again, dealing with these thyroid issues. Although men get it too, and I have the same advice for them too. Find a good functional medicine practitioner if you're dealing with low thyroid function. So those are just a few of the reviews. There are 13 5-star reviews currently. Now, I would ask, request, beg, no. If you've read my book and you have not posted a review, please consider doing that. Reviews are really a lifeline for authors. I want to reach as many people as I can, hence I'm keeping the Kindle version at 99 cents, and even the paperback at $14.97 I think is a good deal. And I want as many people as possible to find my book and get the help that they need. So if you have read it and enjoyed it, and even if you didn't, listen, I'm open to criticism, constructive feedback, awesome. The more reviews, the better. So please go to Amazon and post a review if you have purchased and read the book and have some opinions about it. I thank you for that. And actually, any other authors that you read, please do the same thing, because we all need reviews. We pour a lot of effort, we pour our heart and soul into creating these books and spend our own money putting them together, and really reviews are just so helpful. It helps with the algorithms. It helps other people because it provides social proof and helps guide buying decisions, right? It inspires other readers considering the book, hey, to think, hey, I'm going to buy that. So I really thank you for that. I also wanted to go ahead and share my website. It is truevoicewritingservices.com. So aside from writing this book, which is the first book in a health trilogy I'm writing, the second one is going to take on the hospital system and insurance based on an 8-day uninsured hospital stay I had, which is connected to the bad functional medicine doctor that I once saw. So that's coming. I'm working on it right now. But in the meantime, I have a new book, a tiny book coming out about how books mean business and why writing books with authenticity is so important in the age of AI. So that'll be coming out soon, probably like in the next couple weeks, maybe a month from now. I don't want to say too much more about it, but it talks about how a book is an evergreen brand asset for professionals. Hey, whether you're a functional medicine practitioner, an accountant, an attorney, a financial planner, books really establish you as the authority in your area of expertise. It gives you instant credibility with your ideal clients and your ideal audience. So one of the things I do is ghostwrite books for these professionals, because a lot of people just don't have the time, even if they do have the writing ability. And I can take a project from start to finish. You don't even, whether you have something written, whether or not you have an outline, if you just have ideas, as long as you know who your target audience is and what you're trying to accomplish with your book, we can take it from concept all the way through to finished product on Amazon. So I offer professional ghostwriting services, where one thing that is required is your participation in weekly calls, because in order for me to write in your voice, I really need to get to know you. Then just sort of an overview of the process. Generally from there, now it depends on the amount of interviews needed, really depends on the scope of the book and what you do. But generally after, say, like 4 calls, we're ready to create an outline. I create an outline, we get together, you approve it, you make any changes you want to make, and then I kind of write chapter by chapter. And then I get on a call with the client and we go through chapter by chapter, so that by the time we get to the end of the book, they've basically reviewed the whole thing before we got there. We could still make tweaks before it goes to formatting, but they are involved in the whole process. Now, some people want to be more hands-off, and that's fine. Again, everybody's different. So I can certainly do that too, as long as I have the information I need and can have a resource such as like your website, maybe some blogs that you've written, podcasts that you've done, just to get a sense of your voice, because that's what ghostwriting really is. It's capturing another person's voice, which I love to do. I've been ghostwriting since 2010. It's awesome. I told the story of how I fell into that a couple of podcasts ago, but all of my services are listed here. So aside from ghostwriting, let me just scroll down here. At True Voice Writing Services, I help purpose-driven professionals transform ideas and expertise into compelling content that builds authority, nurtures trust, and inspires action. With decades of experience ghostwriting books and writing strategic content across multiple industries, I apply clarity, creativity, precision, and your unique brand to every project. And so my core services include ghostwriting nonfiction books, SEO optimized blogs and press releases, lead magnets, and email sequences. I spent 6.5 years as a content marketer for a digital marketing agency. And actually before that, I was a freelancer for them, writing web pages, blogs, press releases, and also another digital marketing agency at the time, going way back. So I have about 10 years of experience in digital marketing and writing SEO optimized blogs and other content, web pages, press releases, things like that. So I can and do still provide those services. I like to focus on professionals who really want to expand their presence on Google, help their ideal audience, their ideal clients, their ideal patients, find them easier through regularly published SEO optimized blogs that follow Google's EEAT formula. That's expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. People do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? And blogs are one way to demonstrate your authority and build trust, but so is a book. Oftentimes, depending on your profession, you can actually create a trilogy, or even beyond a trilogy, multiple books, right? So for example, if you are an estate planning attorney, your first book might be about why a will isn't enough. The second book might be about trust. The third one could be about probate administration. The next one could be about estate administration, and so on. Medicaid planning is another one. Depending on whatever you do in your business or your law practice, you can write a book about, like separate books about. So it's different for everybody, and that's something we discuss on a free 30-minute discovery call. So you can contact me here at this link, at this page rather. Reach out to me today, tell me your story. I do have some questions here just to kind of get to know you better. But they're very brief. Just need your name, email, phone. I ask if you have a business website, your social media links, brief description of your current business. What do you sell? Who are your ideal clients? What are your price ranges? Describe the subject matter of your book. And then this is very important. What is your ideal time frame for completing the book? And then down here I ask, do you have an existing outline, notes, or partial manuscript? And are you available for scheduled weekly calls? Because that is really important in the beginning. So I try to work with people, though, as I said, with your busy schedule. Try not to intrude upon your time too much, but those initial calls are just, they're paramount. I mean, we have to have them. Unless you have a huge presence and I can go online and watch some podcasts and capture your voice that way. So reach out to me today if you are interested in ghostwriting services. Now, I'm also aligned with the wonderful Michelle Culp, who is actually a sponsor of True Voice Unfiltered, and her website is Bestselling Author Program, which I'm going to share with you right now. And so I am aligned with Michelle Culp. We work together. We each have our own business, but we work together. And Michelle is an exceptional book launch expert, book marketing expert. Her website is bestsellingauthorprogram.com. And you can find out all about her here. I'm just going to click on the clients page just to show you. And I am one of her clients. She did my book launch for my escape from the sick care system. So here it is here. She's also, actually today is the second day of a book launch for our mutual client, Dr. Linda Singh, who wrote Lava Leadership, fabulous book. Linda will be on here pretty soon. But you can see her different clients here. Melissa, and this is right up my alley. I really actually need to get this book, The Cancer Industry by Mark Sloan. Why a Will Isn't Enough. And this is attorney Melissa Yost. Feel Better Fast by Dr. Chris Cormier. I hope I said his name correctly. Looks like he's a chiropractor. So whatever you do, whatever profession you're in, we can help you. I handle the actual writing aspect of everything, the ghostwriting the book, editing, and Michelle's package includes the formatting and additional editing too, because as a ghostwriter, I really like to have a backup editor. So it includes like a formatter / editor, because formatting is very important. It has to do with what the book looks like in the interior. You want to make sure that it's visually appealing for your readers. And Michelle handles the book launch. People that maybe they need help with the free gift in terms of like what the free gift should be. She's basically the marketing guru for books, and launches on Amazon, getting them to bestseller, and then even further out beyond the launch Amazon ads. So working together, we really help our clients succeed. We try to do this. 120 days is like the maximum, actually. So if you signed up with us today, generally speaking, your book's going to be out in 3 months, but we have like a little, what's the word I'm thinking of right now? I can't think about it right now. Cushion. We do have a little cushion where we say 120 days max. Sometimes life gets in the way. Things happen with clients. Things happen with us, right? So, but 120 days at the most from start to finish. You'll not only have a book, and a professional cover. I forgot to mention that the package also includes professional book cover design. So you get the ghostwriting with me, professional editing and formatting, the book cover design, the book description, which is very, very important. All the help you need getting it into Amazon. Michelle does all of that and also helps you with inputting the information into Balker or My Identifiers, which is where you now will have to pay for your own ISBN number. But Michelle takes care of loading the information into My Identifiers /Balker just to help you. There's a way that we're supposed to do it to help the book get the most exposure possible. So basically she holds your hand through that whole process. And so the two of us work together with mostly professionals, but we do have clients who just want to write a memoir about their career and they want to leave something behind for their families, which I think is a beautiful thing. Just a professionally written book with a beautiful professional cover that your family and loved ones will have forever. So I love that idea. So whatever your goals, we can accommodate. All right, so you can find me at truevoicewritingservices.com. You can find my book, My Escape from the Sick Care System, A Guide to Overcoming PCOS, Hashimoto's, and Autoimmune Conditions with Functional Medicine. You can find Michelle at bestsellingauthorprogram.com. And we really hope that you check us out. Contact me on my contact page at truevoicewritingservices.com. I offer a free 30-minute discovery call to learn more about you. And I can tell you a little bit more about how Michelle and I work together so that you get the whole package, including the ghostwriting, but you get a professionally polished book at the end with a unique cover. And that's really important. I understand that saying, like, don't never judge a book by its cover, but it really applies to everything except books, ironically, because people do judge books by their covers. And you also get the keywords now as well. Like, very, very important for your book title and subtitle to include keywords that people are actually searching for on Amazon. So we have the tools to do that. And right now, I was part of Michelle's Tiny Book Challenge. It's not done yet. I think we have another week or two left. And I wrote my tiny book about books meaning business, so meaning books build authority, but in the age of AI, they also demand authenticity and why you shouldn't just put a prompt into ChatGPT and put your book out into the world and expect people to take you seriously. People are craving authenticity, and I'm kind of glad to see that now. I think it's been 3 years now since the AI frenzy started, and yeah, it's a great tool for a lot of things, and I do use it. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I never use it, but I certainly don't use it to write people's books, and you shouldn't either. It's a tool. It's not a replacement for a writer. It's not a human being. It doesn't understand nuance. It can't get inside your head and write like you do. So that book will be out, like I said, probably in about 3 to 4 weeks. I got the cover. I'm very excited. I don't want to share it just yet. I'm still wrapping up the book description, and it's got to go into formatting soon, but it's pretty much there. And I have to say, that tiny book challenge was awesome. So again, go to bestsellingauthorprogram.com. There's a link there for Tiny Book Challenge if you want to sign up for the next one. I think it's really helpful. I'm going to be editing a book for a woman in there who is a licensed marriage and family counselor. Very excited about that. I think there's a lot of ways that she can go with this. She is thinking about also creating a workbook and then future books from there to help drive her ideal clients to her. And that's the thing with authority marketing through books. They showcase your authority. They're an evergreen brand asset, and they draw clients to you versus you constantly having to go out there and try to attract clients. And books can work while you're sleeping. They find it online. They find your blogs online. Books and other content, evergreen content, are invaluable to your success. So, all right, everybody, with that, I want to end episode 13. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back with a guest next episode. I am very excited. It's actually a woman I met in the Tiny Book Challenge group who reached out to me to tell me she read my book and she loved it, and that her son, when he was young, had juvenile arthritis, and she took him to a functional medicine practitioner and it solved the problem. So I'm very much looking forward to interviewing her, and that episode should be coming out in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to being on Jody Lane's podcast. I'm going to put her information in the show description as well. She is the founder of Accelerated Medical Practices, and they work with hormone clinics around the country to help them achieve success and be able to treat their patients with the care that they deserve and succeed at what they're doing. So I'm very much looking forward to being on her podcast, hoping to get her on here very soon. And I will be recording an interview with Dr. Amy, the thyroid fixer, in December. Not sure when that will be out. The interview I recorded with Lisa Fisher Said, which was awesome. She was amazing. I just love her. She told me that'll be out in February. So it's really good for me because I'm happy to be spreading these things out for my book. But I really am trying to reach as many people as possible who are now struggling, like I was, sharing my story, giving them practical suggestions and just practical guidance so that they too can reach optimization with whatever they're struggling with. Okay, it doesn't have to be Hashimoto's, can be any autoimmune condition. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you for listening. Please visit me at truevoicewritingservices.com. Check out my blogs. I have many, many blogs up there on different topics, some related to health, some related to writing and ghostwriting, blogs, all kinds of content. I think you'll find them valuable. Reach out to me there. You can contact me there. And I look forward to getting on a free 30-minute discovery call with you. Thank you for watching. If you like this podcast, please consider subscribing to my channel. Just hit the subscribe button. Share it with your friends. I'm really trying to grow my audience here so that I can help more good people expand their businesses, interview more high-profile guests, and just make this podcast as valuable as it can be. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and stay well.